We're with Kristina Botelho. She's a contracting officer with the Air Force and part of the agile contracting community of practice, correct?
Yes.
All right. Let's start with the basic definition. What is agile contracting?
So for me, it's a lot of different things, depending on what you're doing. I think I first employed it when we were standing up Kessel Run. We use the agile contracting methods under FAR Part 39 to do modular contracting. So those are smaller pieces of a contract so that if you do start to fail at something, you can quickly recover and move on to something else. It's resource intensive, so you don't see it applied as much as it could be. But it was the best method for Kessel Run when we were standing it out.
And just remind us, Kessel Run is the agile development factory that was operated by the Air Force.
Yeah, it was one of the first software factories stood up back in 2017.
Right.
I was one of the original contracting officers that helped the team stand that up. So.
All right, and you said that it's resource intensive, this idea of agile. What does that mean?
So when you're doing modular type contracts, you're doing a lot of smaller contracts, which means you have a lot more contracts that you have to manage. So anytime there's modifications or changes, you have to do it to all the contracts, and it's just more oversight and more labor intensive.
And how does it differ, say, from task orders?
So it's not different entirely. You can use task orders to modular contract. Modular contracting is just a method of breaking down requirements into smaller increments so that you can fail fast and move on. You can use task orders. You can use FAR Part 13 simplified acquisition procedures. You can do it using OTs, I suppose.
Other transactions, right. But let me ask you this. Why can't you just set up a contract as you would for a big waterfall development project, only have a clause in there that says we can stop and change this at any time?
I mean, well, technically speaking, we could put a stop work order on things anytime, but then especially when working with larger primes, they have just as much bureaucracy as we do. So when you do things like that, it could end up costing the government a lot more money and delay things even longer because now you're working out those stipulations of what stopped work and what's being changed and you're repricing.
So essentially you want your contracts to match your agile scrums.
Right. Yeah.
And if
exactly.
something's not so good, then you kill it and go on to the next thing that's instead.
Yeah. Of course, your program office has to not be afraid to fail. So
people have to be on board.
Yes. Yeah. It took a while, but we got people on board.
Now you're part of an agile contracting community of practice.
Yes.
Who's in it? How does it work? And how do you meet? Is it virtual?
So it's really a community of like-minded contracting professionals. Working in the Air Force, I'm also part of RapidX, which is similar to the Agile community. It's just contracting professionals that work with Agile methods, and they share those experiences, lessons learned. I provide training to Air Force-based contracting units all around the Air Force on Sitter, Agile, contracting methods, and really anything that they need help with.
Yeah, what are some of the big detailed practices if you're constantly, say, turning off contracts, developing new ones to match your scrum work?
Yeah.
Tell us how that works in some detail.
So you really have to work. Yeah, you really have to work through. If you're in a constant state of competition, you want to really get your evaluation criteria down packed. Keep the same evaluators in place who know how to quickly document things. One of the things we did was oral presentations, and we had the lawyer in the room, and we had that evaluation done the same day the presentation. So there wasn't a lot of back and forth consensus that you see with typical FAR Part 15 big source elections.
Right, so this could involve multiple contractors in one overall development effort, and so you're competing the agile pieces of it.
Yes.
So they have to be kind of agile developers in the first place to begin on.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if they're like a big commercial waterfall type of deal, that doesn't work too well.
It makes them uncomfortable, but a couple of divisions of the big primes have gotten on board, so there's hope.
Yeah, all right. We're speaking with Kristina Botelho. She is a contracting officer with the Air Force and a member of the Agile contracting community. Give us some examples of projects where this is happened.
So Kessel Run is the first example. We stood up the very first software factory using unique Agile methods that were all in accordance with policies. It was just a different way of applying them. So it really helped us move very fast. At one point, we did RFP to award in 48 hours for one of our actions. So everything's out there that you need to go fast. It's really about education and understanding how to apply the different rules and regulations that are out there. We do a lot in Agility Prime. So I focus on some of their more advanced technologies under Agility Prime. We issue RFPs that go out with 2-week turnarounds, and we're able to get those awarded within 2 weeks after receipt. Those are smaller actions, so it doesn't require a lot of coordination. But if you keep them smaller, then you can move a lot faster.
Now, there's an old saying in software, you can have better, cheaper, faster, pick any two.
Yeah.
Would you say that this flexible, agile contracting reduces time most of all, gets better results, or is less expensive for the government? You don't have to pick two.
Less expensive would be my third. I don't think that we're overpaying on what we're doing by breaking it down into modular contracts, but getting the lowest price is our least concern. We're more concerned with quality and timeliness. We want to get it out to the warfighter. We want it to be meaningful to them, not 3 years down the line and it's something they don't even need anymore.
Sure. And I'm curious, can this apply to, do you think, platform development or, hardware type of projects? I mean, there's a lot of fairly mature, fairly immature, haven't left the ground yet types of developments going on in the Air Force. Does this have any applicability to fighters, bombers, missiles?
So I am doing some work with Global Strike Command, and there is some application to it, but of course everyone's scared to go big. So they start with small increments and they integrate them into the bigger systems. And I think we're going to see that moving forward. I don't know that anyone has the appetite to break down the F-35 and parse it out. I don't think it'd be a horrible idea to give it a try with the next one, but I don't think we're going to see that.
So it could maybe apply to a subsystem, like say we need a better elevator here to raise this wheel to this point, or this bomb rack from A to B to fold it away or unfolded, that type of thing, a subsystem.
There's absolutely room for improvement. The big defense primes, they're great at what they do, but they don't do everything. So when we can bring in those companies, those smaller ones that specialize in these unique advanced technologies, there's no reason why we shouldn't take their technology and integrate it into the bigger defense program.
Sounds like this could eventually be integrated with that idea of digital design.
Yes, digital engineering and twinning, So I'm a contracting officer, so I'm not as technical savvy, but I try to get a layman's understanding, and I've been seeing a lot of the digital twins, and I'm pretty excited about it. It could be a huge cost savings for the government if we really are able to fully adopt it.
That leads to another question. You are a contracting officer. There's that person called the contracting officer's representative.
Yes.
What's their role, and how does that change in agile contracting?
So it becomes a lot for them as well. There's a lot more oversight involved. You're watching their performance and making sure that things are getting done on much smaller timelines. So you're in constant surveillance mode versus checking on them monthly and looking at invoices. Contracting officer representatives that I've worked with, they focus on quality and performance, overseeing the work that's getting accomplished, and then other admin stuff like time cards and things of that nature, depending on the contract type.
All right, so things can change in federal contracting.
Oh, absolutely,
All right, we'll end it there. Kristina Botelho is contracting officer with the Air Force and a member of the agile contracting community, flexible contracting community. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay.